What's up, party people? Yeah, I'm here. Got a new mic set up, trying it out. We'll see how that works. Has cat hair on it already, so you can tell uh, that it's mine. Um, oh, what a day! Little out of breath. Let me collect myself. So we had a little bit of time yesterday evening to continue work. We had written the garbage collector yesterday. Um, Added a couple of pieces and started deprecating the root, the automatic sort of reference counting root stuff. It's being pushed outside of the garbage collector right now, and I don't know. I might bring SC back. SC was the automatically sort of saying like it was a wrapper around an edge being the pointer type in Super Collider. That sort of said, hey, as long as I'm alive, don't you add this thing to your roots. You cannot delete it. You have to start your scan from it. In fact, and so then all dependent objects also don't get don't get deleted. But now the API is changed for garbage collector. So let's switch over to restore. Here we are, and so if you look at do work now, garbage collector do work, um, it asks for the roots, and because it doesn't, it's not an incremental collector, so it doesn't need to know about them continuously. It may not arbitrarily decide at any time to start a new round of marking. So it now has this thing where it goes, oh, the roots are, if you consider doing work, which is right now just a simple heuristic that like, have we incremented 16 meg? Have we allocated 16 megabytes of data since the last time that we did a collection? And if no, we don't do anything. And if yes, then we do a full collection, and we stop and we run through mark, sweep, and finalize phases, and then we're good to go. So that's the new API design. So we had an object called SC. I've deleted it. But of course now that's causing all sorts of compilation errors, and it was also a part of the language API, the new API that we've been designing and needs a lot of work. I think it's just kind of slapped together right now. So let me pull this. Let me pull this update from upstream. I was working on my laptop. Okay, cool. And yeah, so it's just going to be a bunch of, hey, compilation errors and like rethinking things. So one thought right now is that Lang now has 3 roots. The API, the Lang struct. So the 3 roots are the library, the interpreter, and a list of domains. Because the only thing we were issuing, these were the only 3 things, the only 3 types that we were issuing SCs for. So we had one here in the library, we had one here in the edge, and one here in the domains. And I actually want the garbage. I want you to call Lang to do work, not GC. So so we need to do a it's going to be a, where's the impl? Yeah. Is there a function called Lang that returns the Lang? Interpreter, simple table, GC. No, you haven't yet. That's interesting. I mean, and lang will be there. Um, anyway, I'm just thinking about how to wire up the roots to the scanning, which is another piece of this. Lang right now has the roots. What if we just put them back in the garbage collector, move a vec, and it's just roots. Roots. Hash set GC. Roots can only ever be added. Like you cannot roots hash set new. So what I'm thinking is there's a oh boy, we should finish this. So many loose ends. All right, pub fun add root and mute self slef, and then we've got a edge, a root edge. No, it's just a GC. It's the same thing as take, which is it's a GC. It's a GC. Roots can only ever. Yeah, that's fine. Roots self dot roots dot insert. Add? I thought it was insert. Is it right here? Same type. Hash set DC. The set of always be retained, where we start from. The set of all allocated objects. Okay. GC. Root. And this should be assert. Where's the... Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Yeah. So then do work now. It doesn't need roots anymore. Forceful collection doesn't need roots, and roots can also it doesn't need to be passed, but mark needs roots. So we're going to go with the roots. Let mute work list, which is a vec of GC be seeded from self.roots dot iter.cloned collect How about that? Okay. So now we have roots. So way back when Ling starts up, here we go, we make these things. We make a new thing. Line. Laying dot borrow mute dot gc dot borrow mute dot add root. I think we need let library equal edge new library new. And then we go like this. Add roots library dot obj it's got a GC. No, edge doesn't have a. I gotta tell you, it's so nice putting these in their individual files. I really am into it. Take inner, no. Okay. These. Saying. Drop. Obj. Fun obj. GC. And it means it. Dot obj dot unwrap, and you need to be a function. Okay, there's the library. Same thing. Post. Boom. Boom. Dot clone. Mute.gc borrow mute add root. We don't know what kind, but I think we can yeah, a compiler. So clever. Borrow mute dot add roots domains dot obj dot unwrap. Okay, cool. There they are. So now we've added all three things to the root without having to use an SC, which means that the first time we do garbage collection, it'll start there, so it will never throw out a domain again. And we can hand out edges to domains. Edge. Domain ID. I think what we want is a pub type domain ID. Obstruct domain ID. is a U size. Yeah. Opaque handle, 2 domains. Used by internal and external code. And external code. Domain ID. Domain equal domains dot borrow mute dot I mean, this all has to happen inside of here. Yeah, actually, I think there might need to be 2. Oh, but these return. Yuck. Okay. There cannot be 2. Okay. So we don't get the nice wrap TLS here. Let's make an internal function. Get domain. Domain ID. Returns an edge domain. Option, or returns a results. Option edge returns a results edge domain, or a Hadron error. There, boom. TLS. And my levels. I know it's a little noisy down here, but it is honestly the quietest place in the house. Which says something, right? Hey. Oh my god. Okay. If let some domain equal lang dot borrow dot domains dot borrow dot at domain ID, which is private. No, but you can access it because it lives right here. Cool. Let's make some space. There we are. Then we've got this. It's domain. There's a way to do this. I think it's just lang.borrow dot domains dot borrow dot x domain ID dot ID dot unwrap, or no, there's a way to get an error, a result. Okay, or Hadron error new. And you don't, do you have this stuff in scope yet? Yes. But now you get to make like use crate runtime sc crate runtime error Hadron error. Call that. Use crate runtime error level EFGH. Use crate runtime error type. There it is. I think we're headed to another redesign, but where are we? Error Hadron error dot new dot add message error message new error message error level. This is an error. Okay, error type. What's the next argument? That's what you're missing. Error message. LM. Great. Let's get on home row. Runtime. Error message. Error type. Okay. Well, give me a hint. I know. Error type. Message location. None. Type. Runtime error. You need more. Runtime error is a big bucket now. Drive debug. So we can just print it. This is format. Yeah. None. You have it. okay or else. Yeah. Okay, it has a problem though, which is that it feels like it doesn't understand the type. So you can't seem to figure out that hmm, you can't seem to figure out that the type is that's annoying. Because the Reptilis macro setlang result is the block, and then we return it. Why not just oh um, with path? Mm. You could make a hash map. Um, paths. Paths. Here we are. So what I'm trying to solve is this. I want language to be the disintermediary of everything that it interprets. And for right now, I want it to just retain everything that it interprets. I think that we're going to end up with with like an LSP implementation that probably will be doing something very similar, and we're going to be moving to like a rope API. There's a really nice rope crate in Rust, which is basically like a string that you can edit pieces of, and you don't have to like make a copy of the whole string again. So it's and I had actually implemented a crappy version of that in Hadron in Rust myself a while ago. I got fascinated with the idea, and so I just wrote it. And it wasn't great. It took forever to debug, and then I ended up throwing out all the code anyway. But it was fun while it lasted. Um, but maybe lesson learned about like, hey, don't don't build it if you can just find it somewhere. Um, and also like premature feature implementation because I was working on the LSP instead of like trying to focus and get somewhere with the interpreter, um, which was a problem that I had earlier in this project a lot. Was that I just kind of went from issue to issue. Um, let's say get domain by ID, and we can make this public. And then we can get the domain ID. We can also get domain by path. Get domain ID by path. On get domain ID by path. We need a lang, rc ref cell lang. We go domain ID is path. Path, which is just a turns an option domain ID. We need clone on this thing. And clone on domain ID. Okay, so what we do is we say boom. I don't actually think that you need to borrow dot paths dot get path dot clone. There it is. Oh. There you have it. So that we can do something like by path, set the thread local to this language to make the library and interpreter. Let domain equal get domains get domain by ID lang dot clone domain ID. Nice. Domain. There you have it. Domain ID. Okay. Something along the lines of like wrap TLS lang let domain equal edge new domain new edge new source file new name bytes. Boom. Yeah. Boom. Domains lang dot borrow let domain equal domain Oh. Thing's already borrowed. You can't. No, Lang's not borrowed. No, you just put it in there. So, mute. This might fail. Wow. Let ID. Why? Okay. What is your problem? We'll just do it all in the. We'll just do it all in the garbage collector. Why not? We'll just do it all in the context. Borrow. D. Dots domains dot borrow mute dot append lang dot borrow append domain. What is your major malfunction? Edge array, edge domain. Oh, add. What's a domain ID? Okay. Then we got borrow mute dot paths domain dot clone. No. Dot insert. Domain dot clone. Let name equal let full name dot clone name domain ID dot clone path. Okay. Okay. So now we've put it into both things. This is the only method that should ever make a domain. Only method. The only way to ever a domain. Otherwise, things go very badly. Otherwise, domains may be automatically garbage collected. Okay. Edge domain. No, this is done. And we're going to keep it now. I don't care. Or we could put it in the interpreter. Let's put it in the interpreter. This is another one where it really needs to move out of this file really badly. Edge? No. It's an edge to an edge. Okay. So we want interpreter block and interpreter def, I think. All these things need to live in the interpreter, or the minute we call garbage collection, they will be collected. They will die. Okay. E. Okay. Yeah, I think we're headed in the right direction, but I'd rather this code in the interpreter. I'm a little bit worried about like RefCell getting mad at us and being like, hey, you've already borrowed the language to access this thing and now you're trying to borrow it mutably. Or, oh, you're trying to add it and now you're trying to borrow it. You know, it's already borrowed mutably and now you're trying to borrow it immutably. So for me, I think that my inclination is to move it to the interpreter. But I'm just going to commit this real quick. Which is where it's been, I think, so far. I don't know if there's any Gen Xers in the audience, or if you remember that really cheesy pop song, "Pop Goes the World" by Men Without Hats. But every time I type "Stop the World," that That song jumps into my head. Oh. It's just me? Maybe it's just me. Yeah, so we've already implemented this here. We just called it sources instead of domains. And we had a thing. We made a thing called domain ID, which needs to actually live here. Pew. Be down here. Just a little opaque handle like that. And then we have a paths. The domain should know its ID too. Thanks, bud. Current domain evaluated. The call stack. The values kept on a separate stack. The return values, frames kept on a separate stack. The current domain being evaluated to prevent possible garbage collection. Don't. Sometimes it's possible GC, but where else is this being used? Who accesses this? Find usages. Is this thing read only? 2 results. I don't think you need this anymore, but you will need the function def and the oh, okay. What's down here? What are you mad about? That's just SE stuff. Okay. That's all stuff that needs to be refactored. Yeah, I don't think you made anybody mad. Okay. Okay. Domains has a hash map string domain ID. But I still was wondering, domain, this struct. You do not currently have an ID. Assuming ignore. Everything is ignore except for this source file. Use. Oh, this is now going to become a circular dependency. Circular dependency. Circular dependencies are awesome. Circular dependencies. This one's easy. The ID should live with the domain. Cool. Okay. Source file ID. Header ID. Why does that have to be cloned? I think you could just do source file. Fine. So, got a little crazy from the cloning. Um, use domain ID. Use compiler domain. Create compiler domain and domain ID. Domain. Yes. Yes. Domains and paths. So now we have this lovely thing, but we don't have this anymore. This is a thing called domains, and this is a thing called paths. Okay. We go down here. Interpreter, bloop, 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 bloop. We need a, I think we need the, I don't think we need the block, but I think that we need the, generate returns a edge function def. That's all it needs. Right? Yeah. Okay. Clone. Or I mean, you could neatly tuck this in to function compile context. I don't know, if you wanted to, or not. Yeah. So. Context dot borrow mute, which is going to generate an error, dot function def dot borrow mute. Yeah. Context equal function def dot borrow mute dot inner blocks. Right? Isn't there a call type constants, context, defaults, inner defs dot put dot add borrow mute dot add append, now add def dot clone. Okay, so this is terrible. To avoid garbage collection of the def while the def has been compiled, but can be garbage collected because it is not associated with any particular root. We add it to the array of inner defs. No, we'll just put 0. There should not, there's no inner defs. Function compile context. What does it look like? Did you add it? How are you even doing this right now? the right spot for it is as an inner block in function compile context. Um, the thing that I'm curious about is how that's. I have forgotten how it's currently being configured on the interpreter. Um, so the interpreter has a method. If we go look at SuperCollider for a second, pardon me for the illegible text while I call up the appropriate function. Boom. Here. Yes, yes, you're very clever. Interpreter. Mm-hmm. Compile file. Function compile context. This is another great. I should just like grep the class library for do not, followed by an exclamation point, because I think that would actually be a pretty productive search. I don't know why I have the camera here or not. I don't have the camera here. So basically, what's happening here is there's this thing called function compile context, and when you provide interpreted code to SE Lang, the legacy SuperCollider interpreter, it is basically inserted as a function inside of this method function compile context, which then then it's like calling a method. So it's like you quickly zap this on as a function call inside of this thing, and then you say, hey, the message I'm sending is interpreter function compile context, and then the interpreter does what it always does. It looks up the method and says, oh, okay, I'm calling this function, which is the function that you just compiled, the code you just compiled wrapped in a function, and then it calls it with no arguments. And that's kind of how it works. So you will be constantly replacing this thing. I think that I had done something different because I hate these. There should never be SuperCollider code. I feel like this. Like this is really bad news. It's just it makes the class library feel like a haunted graveyard. And it's just not. It's brittle, right? Like it's not. So instead, switching back to Rust Rover, I think I have something called function compile context here. So it's just a method that I make, and it's actually a built-in method, which is really messed up. And in fact, I want to change this. I want to make a file called interpreter.sc. And yes, the scope of this PR is expanding, but I don't know. Bear with me. This is some tech debt I need to clean up. Core library new file. No, it's going to go into kernel. I don't think, we don't have one yet. So we have interpreter. So we need a file. Interpreter. See, it's an extension because this is definitely a built-in class. And we're going to make one method called function compile context. Context. Yeah. So at least like we know, hey, this thing's an interpreted method, and like we're gonna, But I think what I'm actually doing is I'm replacing the guts. If I'm not mistaken, I'm replacing the guts of this method. Like I don't have a frame within it. I just take the guts wholeheartedly. I basically compile it like as though it were a I basically skip that stage, and yeah. So I think what we need to do. Here's what I think we need to do. I think when we create the interpreter, all the class library has been compiled. Well, it's been bootstrapped, right? Like we built in the built-ins and stuff. So we know that there's a method called function compile context. I've changed my mind on this again. I hate that. This is fine. Delete file. Gone. Okay. So when we make a new interpreter, let compile context equals. We want to add one inner block to this. Let mute compile context. Compile context dot borrow mute dot function def dot borrow mute dot inner blocks inner defs dot borrow mute dot add edge new empty. Boom. Okay. So what are we doing here? Add a single inner block to the compile context so that we can place the inner block, a single space at a single entry to the inner block of the compile context array of the compile context so that we can place the compiled interpreter blocks there, thus preventing their their premature garbage collection. Okay, and then claim format will take care of that, or not claim. Rust cargo format will take care of that. A little bit of the day job bleeding through there. All right. So now, when we do this thing, this can be put. Add it in the spot, the one spot. We place it in the one spot we reserved in the compile context method. Place it in the inner block spot we reserved in the compile context method. In the compile context method. Compile context method. Which means that we got to be real sure that nobody's method. We got to be real sure that assert eq compile context dot borrow mute dot function def dot none of these things now need to be mutable. You can immutably borrow them. Dot inner def dot borrow dot size is 1. That's it. That's all. There should not be additional inner blocks here as it is a built-in method. Yeah, that array should be, it might even not be an array. Like this might crash and, it just could be an empty edge because, in fact, I'm pretty sure that it is. So, well, we can, and in fact, let's do that. Inner defs dot equal edge new array new from slice like this, new from slice, and we're just going to put and edge new empty. Boom. So that way you don't even, you know what size it is. It's create a length 1 array, create a new size 1 array for the inner block of the compile context, for the inner block, for the inner block of the compile context, so that we can place the rewrapping my comment, thus preventing premature garbage collection. Done. Okay, so now we just made a new array. Clobber the old array. Where is the error? There's a red line here somewhere. Okay. So then we can just literally just put it put 0. There, you have it. Okay. Yeah. Just clobber the old thing. It'll garbage collect the old thing the next time we do garbage collection. Assuming that we haven't, then we're not leaking it because we have an edge to it somewhere else. You know, which is always a possibility. Okay. All right. I feel like I'm 5 levels deep in the stack. I was moving some stuff over, and yeah. So let's unwind one. We had these functions. New domain. Yeah, no, I think we have fun. New domain. Mute self. Domain is, no, name is a string. Bytes is a vec of U8. It's going to be a different method. It returns a domain ID. And this was terrible. I don't really know what happened here. I lost my damn mind. There's going to have to be 2 copies of the string. Like it. Because Rust will not be satisfied by string refs to the array. There's just no, there's no guarantee. I cannot, that those things would ever remain correlated. That's fine. So instead what we're going to do is do this. Boom. What's your problem? Oh. Let domain ID equal self dot domains dot borrow dot size. Domain ID domain ID boom. And now we're going to return it. Domain ID. Okay, everybody's happy, right? Job done. No. We actually need, when we make a new domain now, you have to add an ID. Yep. So I'm actually surprised that the compiler isn't mad about this. Where's new domain? There we are. Okay. New domain, domain ID. Blue. Got this ID thing. Okay. It has to be pub. Compromises, to compromise my artistic vision. And we'll make it pub crate. Pub crate ID. Cool. Interpreter. ID. Boom. Or you could just, even better. No. No. We'll just do a new. We can also have a default. No, we don't need a default domain. Pub impl. Move this thing down under domain. Who cares? We get bytes. Boom. Pub impl. Impl domain. This is all you get. Is new. Pub fun new. ID is a usize. Returns self, and we just get domain ID. Domain ID. There you have it. Boom. Okay. So now we can just say, hey, make a new one. New. Oh, yeah. All right. Cool. Now, this function is missing an argument. Edge new domain new. It's in here. Right. Domain ID. Dot clone. Cool. Okay. Domain equal new. Domains. We'll do the path first, because that gets to clone the self.paths. Paths.insert. Path. Domain ID. Source. Domain. Dot borrow. Dot get input name. And domain ID. Dot clone. Boom. Self dot domains dot borrow mute dot append add domain. There you have it. All right. New domain. So now we just call this. We just call interpreter line dot borrow dot interpreter dot borrow mute dot new domain. Okay. Oh, you didn't even make it a pub. This equal API interpreter. This equal API interpreter. Boom. Domains dot borrow. This dot borrow dot domains dot borrow. Interpreter. And it still needs to be public. Pub fun. Pub fun. New domain. Name. Bytes. Bytes. You have it. Gonna break some stuff. Break some stuff. Starting the root. This thing is gone. Huh. We have two roots, the library and the interpreter. That's really all you need. Okay, we're gonna have to. Let's fix this up. This dot borrow mutes dot paths dot insert. Let mute this. This dot borrow. This dot borrow mute. Domain ID. Okay. Cool. Hi, hi, hi. Add domain. No. Get domain ID by path. Get domain by ID. We're gonna copy this stuff. So we need a get domain by ID. Pub fun. Get domain by ID. Which takes a domain ID. And it returns a result edge domain. Or a Hadron error. Domains will always live until, I think, until the client drops them, and they may live past that, depending on what else is referencing them. Yeah. And the client doesn't even have a way to drop a domain right now. Like we will just accept them indefinitely. Yeah. I think it's something like let mute this equal API interpreter. Boom. And then we're just going to pull it out from there, and then we're going to go this dot borrow dot domains dot borrow. Okay, or. Here. This dot borrow. Detected Hadron error. Okay. So yeah. Aye. You're killing me. ID and self. View size. Self.id. There you have it. Make it a function call. Yay! Okay. Pub crate. No, you cannot mint them, and you cannot access the ID. It is an opaque handle, externally opaque. Opaque handle. Yeah, we can just call it opaque. Like, two domains used by internal and external code. Okay. Got that. So now we have this get domain by ID working. We can get rid of this bullshit. And then we can get this returns a domain by an ID. AppTLS interpreter get domain by ID. Domain ID. There you have it. Get domain ID by path. Pub fun get domain ID by path. Path. It's just a string. It's going to return an option. Domain ID. Boom. Which is just let this equal API interpreter. Why is this doesn't need to be mutable? This dot borrow dot paths dot get path dot cloned. I have it. With TLS wrap line interpreter get domain ID by path. There you have it. Okay. Oi, oi, oi. What else is going wrong in this code base? New domain. No? I think interpret. Like, what are you doing making a domain? Just make a domain ID. Library. Dot clone. And we're good. Yeah. Don't move it out of there. Okay. Yeah, those are all clones. Some unused crap here now. Yeah, cool. This thing's unused. Alright. I think interpret now gets a different vibe. It gets a domain ID. Yeah, I know. Domain ID. Domain ID. Let domain equal no. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I love that. This dot borrow dot get get. No. It's just. You don't even have to do that. It's just interpreter get domain by ID. Domain ID. Okay. He was gone. Mute. Need a burrito. Unwrap on data, and then we've got this edge source file, but I would rather even just file path.string. I would rather even just interpreter. Oh boy. New domain. fun. Bytes. Spec U8 turns a domain ID. Make new domain. Make new domain. Okay. This dot borrow mute dot make new domain. Name bytes, and that's all you're going to do. This guy is now going to be the one. Self. Self domain, self dot path, self dot add. There we are. Make new domain. So now we can call up here. We can call make new domain. Make new domain. Interpreter dot make new domain. Edge new. No, it just takes string. File path dot to string. Back from data. Boom. There you go. So much more breakage coming. Yeah. Yeah. Get domain. Pub use get domain by ID. By ID. Get domain ID by path. Okay. Cool. No such thing as an SC. 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 Crate runtime edge. GC edge. Edge new. Still need to write shutdown. I'm going to go put an assert there. There. So that it'll actually assert before I forget. Okay. Who else is mad? No such thing. Render edge domain. Fine. Use crates, compile. You could just, yeah. This was cute, but I don't know. Compiler. No, where is it? Runtime. That's GC edge. Yeah. Okay. Boop-a-doo. Mismatched types. Where? No? Um, why isn't this? You get it. Look it over. As its body has no tail or return expression. But it does have a tail. Okay. Lang. I think I just put Lang here. Okay. A little confused by this. Weird. Okay. Unreachable code. So that's why now we have to have Lang here. Okay, everybody's happy again? Nope. Data. Pen core classes. Circular dependency. Unsupported. Circular dependency. The library has to be created before the interpreter, so the interpreter can look up its stuff. It can look up its methods and, just generally understand set itself up. We could probably break that dependency with a little effort. But the thing is now that the library, in order to oh no, but you're making a Hmm. Mm. Ah. Yeah. I mean, if we're gonna make one place that's like the authoritative place for source code to live within SuperCollider, including domains, I think that that place should be independent of either the library or the interpreter because they both need it. Um, and so I think that there should be a new class, which is garbage collected, which is called the repository. And it has all of the sources. And it can live, Lang can hang on to it. It could be part of the root set. Um, and those will, we can retain them. Yeah. Yes. Um, I think that'll work. Um, all this code's going to get rewritten anyway. Uh, yeah, let's make a new object called the repository. This is turning into a lot of API rework, but it just I don't know, uh, you know, needs to happen this way. Uh, okay. Coolio. I think I'm gonna take a break though. I'm just kind of calculating. I think a volunteer on the Discord. Site. Cool. Hmm. Okay. Yep. My attention is starting to wander. It's time for a break. All right. Let's come here. Well, thanks again, all none of you that watch this stream. I mean, my charming personality and fascinating Rust programming. I'm sure is going to capture the masses. It's any day now before I can quit my day job and become a streamer full time. But I continue to do this to make myself accessible to folks who are interested in getting involved with Hadron development, and but it also helps keep me on task with Hadron development myself. So it's always a productive use of time to work here, and I appreciate your time and attention. And I will see you at the next one.